Hello everyone. So this is the video number 2 of the line-wise explanation series of the chapter Discovering Tut, the saga continues. So here, as I said in the video number 1, that from this video number 2, paragraph number 3, we are going to get the history. History in the sense that some other archaeologists has also tried to get the data. So how they got, what kind of things they have performed, that we are going to see. The mummy is in very bad condition because of what Carter did in the 1920s, said Zahi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, as he leaned over the body for a long first look. Now, in this present day, they are talking about 1920s. Some other archaeologists, Carter, he has done something to this mummy. That is why the condition of the mummy today is very bad. Who said this? Zahi Hawass, the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. Now, what Carter actually did? Let's see. Howard Carter, that is, was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tut's tomb after years of futile searching. And he searched a lot. After that, in 1922, he got the tomb. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, they were surprisingly complete. Though he has done many things to the particular mummy, but everything was there. Means the different kinds of data, different kinds of things. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the pharaoh's legend. Stunning artifacts in gold, their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee resurrection. Resurrection means rebirth. So, as per the data, the different kinds of things, the royal things were there with the mummy, and it shows, it is giving us a kind of hint that they believed in the rebirth. For them, for the Egyptians, their culture was that death is just a kind of sleep. After death, after the sleep, there is a different life. That is why whatever was, favorite to this particular person, it was given with him at the time of his death when they are making the mummy. So that is why it is written here. Caused a sensation at the time of the discovery and still get the most attention. But Tut was also buried with everyday things he had won in the afterlife. Board games, a bronze razor, linen, undergarments, cases of food and wine. So these are the things that was also buried with Tut. After months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his three-nested coffins. Opening the first, he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willow and olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers that faded evidence of a burial in March or April. So these are the things that is showing that when the burial was done, it was the month of March. And these are the things. When he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble, the ritual's resigns had hardened, cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. No amount of legitimate force could move them. Carter wrote later what was to be done. But the ritual things that was, put in such a way that the body and the things are completely cemented with each other, and it was impossible for them to separate the things. Now, how can we get the mummy? So whatever I am reading right now, these are all the data in the year of from the year of 1922. The sun can beat down like a hammer this far south in Egypt, and Carter tried to use it to loosen the reins. For several hours, he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine that heated it to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. So now they are trying to use the sunshine, the temperature, so that they can separate things. Nothing but he reported with scientific detachment that the consolidated material had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. Now, what they are planning? They are planning to separate it with 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 the hammer and those kind of things. They are trying to separate this mummy with from these particular things. In his defense, Carter really had little choice. If he had not cut the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. So, and Carter was not having that much of time. That is why he had to cut the mummy free. Otherwise, thieves will come and they will, cover the guards and they will take the gold from the particular site. In Tut's time, the royals were fabulously wealthy and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them for his journey to the great beyond. King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, precious collars, and inlaid necklaces and bracelets, rings, amulets, and a ceremonial apron, sandals, sheaths for his fingers and toes, and now iconic inner coffin and mask, all of pure gold. So these are the things that was inside the tomb, and all of these are pure gold. To separate Tut from his adornments, Carter's men removed the mummy's head and severed nearly every major joint. So now they are separating the mummy. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on the layer of sand in a wooden box with padding that concealed the damage, the bed where Tut now rests. Now, when they are, when the things are completely separated, now they are reassembling it on a layer of sand so that the joints, the way they have cut the the mummy, so that the joints cannot be seen. And now he's again resting. So this is the particular data of 1922, right? 1922, as I said, that from paragraph number 3, the 3, 4 and 5, these are the data associated with the year 1922. And who was archaeologist? It was Howard Carter, right? Now from the next paragraph we are going to get again a different kind of data. So in video number 1 I gave you the idea about the chapter and the present day, and in video number 2 I gave you the idea about 1922, right? So let's see in video number 3 what kind of data we are going to get, right? Thank you.